Hey, settle it, we got time! Middle, go, Zay! Go! Hey, get through! Get the ball! Get the ball! One,
Should show some YouTube videos. We should watch the highlights from the other championship game.
You don't like it?
Hey boys, can you guys find a seat here? Get started. So we've been filming this whole week, and I think you're gonna see a pretty cool little like 3-part series documentary. We did some interviews with some coaches and players over the week, and one of the questions that was posed is to the coaches was, well, what do we want you guys to leave with? What's the most important thing for you guys to leave with? And as I just kind of pondered that, one would be that you guys leave better lacrosse players than you got here. That you guys have learned something to become better players. I know I was talking to one guy and he was like, I've had to go outside my comfort zone and do some things I'm not normally used to doing, and hopefully it's made me a better, more well-rounded player. The other thing, the most important thing, that you guys walk away with an understanding of what the gospel is, and then you guys can make that personal decision on your own and just have a clear understanding of that.
If you ever are thinking about this stuff more, if this is ever heavy on your heart, right? Don't ignore that, because people say, God talked to me. It doesn't physically you don't hear God hey, take a right turn here, but you feel tugged on your heart, and that's God, right? You feel maybe this is the right thing to do or a wrong thing to do, and especially when you submit things to Him and you're praying and you say, God, I don't know what to do here. You'll feel tug on your heart. Reach out to Drew, reach out to me, reach out to somebody that you know. If you go to church, reach out to somebody at your church and talk to them about it, right? Because that's God's call on your life.
When we're doing one more thing, I want to show you this video I've been talking about. Hopefully get us a little amped up for the championship game, and then we'll get ready to go here. We're doing it live.
It was there in the summer of '91 at FCA Lacrosse Camp that we began to dream about what it'd be like to pull together a team
to have an impact in the lacrosse community.
At the time, the Vail tournament was the tournament.
The Wimbledon of lacrosse.
We had this idea of hey man, we could maybe put a team out to Vail. We might have enough guys.
The challenge was finding enough Christian lacrosse players that understood that concept and were good enough to play the game of lacrosse at that level.
We commissioned Dan, kind of being the full-time FCA staff guy, to look into it, and he called the tournament directors out in Vail.
I begged them just to take my name and number. Begged them, just, hey, put me on a waiting list. If someone drops, no one ever drops out. We never have teams that drop out. No one's ever dropped out in the history of the Vail Shootout.
Mid-May, 1992, roughly then, I get a call from Dan.
We got into the Vail Shootout. But we don't have a team. What are we gonna do?
I went to Frank and said, I think we should just book 20 flights.
20 flights in faith at $300 a pop on a credit card when you don't have that money in the bank to pay it.
We started praying, calling people, saying, hey, you wanna play for the FC lacrosse team? Hey, Frank, do you know this person? I'll call this person.
He goes, they got this Vail thing and plane tickets and Gale this, and we might need you. I don't know, but we might.
First question is, do you play lacrosse? Can you catch and throw? What's your lacrosse resume? Do you love God? Okay, yes, no, maybe.
They ended up with 21 players, and 4 of them were high school players. They had just graduated from high school.
We were good to go. Let's move forward. We got our team together. So we show up. This is serious.
That's when I looked at that roster and there was some fear and trepidation there.
That we lined up to play the one team that was The biggest and greatest.
Probably the greatest lacrosse team ever put together.
Against 20 no-names.
The way they looked, they had t-shirts on basically, and the teams like Mount Washington and Green Turtle came out dressed to the nines.
We were a laughing stock.
Who is this team? Who are they? What are they? Why are they here?
Oh my gosh, we are gonna get killed by the Green Turtle. We're gonna get annihilated.
We're so out of our league. This is crazy.
But because the Turtle was there, a lot of people came out to see him. At the end of the game, we'll ask ourselves one question. Did we play as hard as we could with the gifts that God's given us? That's the question.
After the first 50 seconds, it went up 2-0.
Then it was 5-0.
This is gonna be so ugly.
But FCA just kind of inched back and inched back. At halftime, Frank tells me to take a picture of the scoreboard because at halftime it was 5-5.
It was tied score.
Game goes into overtime. Tucker had just graduated high school, but here he is covering the greatest player of all time, Gary Gates. But Gary has the ball, he's up front, going to the goal, but the next thing you know is you see Gary Gates' stick. Helicopter check, and the ball went on the ground, and the first overtime ended with no one scoring.
Double overtime! David Kelly fed him the ball backside. Bam! Scored the goal. Crazy! The miracle on the mountains. And we realize that you're a good God. You want to do something through this ragtag team.
And we just praised the Lord and just thanked him. We did it quietly, we weren't trying to be rude, but we just praised and thanked God for his goodness, his grace, his mercy. And I remember all of us, the third that were committed in their faith, the third on the fence, the third that were there just to play lacrosse, we're all giving praise to God.
The Fellowship of Christian Athletes had to beat some pretty good teams to get here, including the number 1 seeded Green Turtle team, the defending champions.
Well, they did, and they beat Colorado, which was a favorite to make it to the finals as well, in the semifinals in a close game.
We beat Team Colorado in the semis. Now we're going to play Mount Washington in the championship.
And getting all set to start action, Mount Washington will be in blue. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes, white tops, red shorts.
FCA gave us all we could handle for the first 20 or so minutes of the game.
Next thing you know, it's like 8-1 them, and we're like, oh no, this is not going well. Timeout. With about a few minutes to go in the fourth quarter, we make a run. 4, 5.
What the heck was that?
6.
Down, and here's the big face-off. Frank Kelly gets it, putting pressure again on the defense. And here comes Cavalbit.
7. Few minutes left, and we had all the mo. You could feel it. It's going to happen.
Time's wearing out. I'll hold it, and that'll be it. 10-7. The Mount Washington winners. But that wasn't the total story. The biggest story maybe was the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. The fact that they got to this final. They surprised everybody to get this far. The goals for this team are goals that make you believe in the value systems of this country again.
Maybe it wasn't about getting a championship, but instead about producing champions.
That team impacted not just FCA, but impacted lacrosse.
The people that have been saved because of that team.
I can remember saying to myself, they have something that I want that I don't have.
That game was a springboard in the beginning for FCA to evolve to what it has become today.
The proudest moments of my life being on my knees there praying with my sons.
It launched something far bigger and far greater than we could have ever imagined.
Nobody knew about them. They didn't walk in with this big impressive entourage. They didn't have all the biggest names. But they played one of the greatest games.
It's just humbling. I get goosebumps watching that, you know. There's 25 guys, 25 years ago, just took a chance to go play, and it laid the foundation for all of you guys to be here, right? If it wasn't for those guys, we wouldn't be here. So I'm just excited for us this morning. to get after it. Hope that pumped you guys up to see where FCA started and where we came from, and this group is not unlike that group. It's 25 guys that never really know each other, came out to play lacrosse and had the opportunity to grow in the relationship with each other and with the Lord. So
yeah, blue.
Where's Coach Kelly?
5 minutes, all right? Just get their sticks and a ball. 5 minutes, we'll walk through it.
Ground balls, baby. Ground balls.
On the dodge, you're cutting. If he drives this side, setting the pick, he's coming off of the weak side. Any questions? When you go out there today, look, this is your last high school experience, really, in club lacrosse, right? A couple things. One, most important, I want you guys to have a good time. I want you to have fun. I want you to play, and I want you to use your God-given talents and just be good lacrosse players. But play as a team, play as a group, and good things will happen. Look, man, it's been fun. I hope you guys have had a good time, right? And I love coaching you guys. It's just getting the progression. I wish I had you guys for like another couple weeks.
Let's be aggressive, let's be assertive, and let's be physical when we need to be. Very first possession. All right, let's get it down.
Dominate on three. Dominate on three. 1, 2, 3.
Dominate. Let's go.
Everybody's saying that I lost my mind. I never
Let's go. Go after it. You never get it back. Get through. Get. Pat, go. Go, this is you. Go. Oh, yeah. Mickey, stay. Yeah. No, don't slide out! Fun, Jack. Fun, Jack. Minutes of full speed. When we dodge, we're running. Okay, when we're going hard. If you have a play that didn't go your way, you got to do what? Move on. Next play. Next play. Next play. So boys. Got it. Go. All three FCA. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That's it. Push it. Let's go. Go quickly. Pat, say that, Pat, say it. Forward shooting! Yeah! Wait. Good job. Good job. Keep battling, all right? Pat, you're in the middle. Okay, just get ready. Don't let anyone get behind you. All right, let's go.
Hey, right now, boys.
Let's go.
Finish strong.
All three FCA. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
That's it.
Hey!
Rest check, 1 minute. Get the ball! Get the ball! One, sir! One.
You guys played great. You battled.
Hey, give you guys a
win with
respect,
class.
right?
On three, ready? Ray Ross, Sweetlax. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Ray Ross, Sweetlax.
What's up, Dave?
I would say when playing with FCA, you're kind of reminding yourself that you're playing for something greater than yourself.
You all have a void, and we all try to fill the void in our lives with either identity, stature, drugs, alcohol. It's empty. In my sophomore year, things weren't going well for me in lacrosse, and I started really pursuing my faith. But I went to my mom, I'll never forget, in the summer. So I said, Mom, I'm trying to follow God, but I can't stop drinking, can't stop partying. I still want to be that guy in lacrosse, and it's not happening for me. And she's like, you're trying to do it all in your own power. She goes, Brian, true power comes when you surrender. That's when true power comes, when you surrender. She goes, if you truly love God, pursue Him and let Him change you. At the end of that summer, my doctor said, you have to have your back operated on. And you might not ever play again. And I really wanted to play because I was back in shape and I was working and I was confident. I just was like, Lord, if you want me to play, I'll play. And I didn't stress out. I had peace. And I hadn't had peace ever before.
I'm gonna be honest, it is different, but it's something that I know kids that normally aren't used to it, kids that are on the team now that have never really been a part of it, everyone enjoys it and everyone embraces it. It's nothing to be pushed away from. It's important, it's different, and it's a lot of fun.
When you go to college as freshmen, it's not easy. Your identity's not gonna be found in your sport. You're gonna have problems. And when you have problems, what are you gonna turn to? Don't think it wasn't lonely for me when I started growing. And then I started having friends and started going. But it's hard to be an eagle because you're by yourself. It's easy to be a chicken because everybody's gonna go and follow you. I don't want your identity to be lacrosse. I don't want your foundation to be lacrosse. Your foundation, it's bigger. You gotta just pursue them.
Being selected is pretty insane. They pick the best 24 people they think in the nation. At first, I was a little hesitant on the whole idea of FCA. I didn't know what it would be like, but once I did it, I was 100% bought in, and I loved it.
I mean, it's different for sure. There's no question that this experience is a lot different than the rest of the other guys in the tournament. But I think that what FCA is capable of doing to you in terms of growth as a person and as a lacrosse player is incredible. And I think just in these last 48 hours, I've sort of learned and grown in ways that I did not imagine I'd be able to.
Gotta love yourself, take care of yourself, and then you can love others. If you can love yourself, you can love others first. So it says, love your Lord God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbors as you love yourself. It's what you do, it's not who you are. Okay, lacrosse is what you do, it's not who you are. And don't fill the void with a lie. And build your house on a firm foundation, not on the sand, because the storms will come.